Welcome to the Blooming League of Original Podcasts.
Welcome to this episode of Season 2 of And the EGOT Goes To, a breakdown and predictions podcast for the major US-based award shows. Today, we finish our second season with our coverage of the 77th Annual Tony Awards and the 2023-2024 Broadway season. I'm your host, Spencer, and with me is our panel.
Hi, I'm Ashley. I see a lot of theater. I talk about it on TikTok, Instagram, all of the platforms, and I'm really excited about this season.
Hi, I'm Kate. Theater is my life, and I love seeing it, and I cannot wait to talk about the season, which is overwhelming in the best kind of way.
Today, we're breaking down the winners at the 77th Annual Tony Awards. We were all together to watch them this past weekend. Was a lot of fun. A couple of big surprises. I personally was not disappointed by any of the surprises, but was surprised nonetheless. So we'll start by breaking down these winners. We're going to start first today with Best Book of a Musical, which was won by Shayna Taub for Suffs.
Thank goodness. What a great start to the evening.
Correct. Perfect way to start, even though they had to bury it in that stupid first act fake thing. But like, whatever. I'm thrilled. I wish they'd done like a recap during the main broadcast of all the things that happened during first act.
They used, when they gave them like off the air, they used to
but they don't do
like
that.
a recap.
They just doing booking choreography in that first section is wild, and then never mentioning it again.
Shayna wrote the best book of the season.
Shayna wrote the best book of like the last freaking 2 seasons.
Yeah,
that's not true. Kimberly was good. Kimberly's good.
Yeah, but I was there last night at Suffs, and I was just like, God, this show is so good. Like the book is so good. The score is so good. Like, the way that it's formatted, the way that like the thing, like I don't know, it's so everything comes like again. This is also like a score thing, but like the way that everything kind of like is set up, and then like you start the song in one act and finish the song in the second act, and it's so smart. I mean, that's all.
Our next category is Sound Design of a Play, which was won by Ryan Rumery for Stereophonic.
I mean, this was obvious. I don't know. Is there anything else to say about Stereophonic winning sound?
I know. It's just like it's a show about sound. The sound is really good.
It's literally named after sound. This would have been the biggest shock if it hadn't won. I'm sure because of how close all of the races were, this was like the biggest margin of a win of the night.
I mean, I think almost anything that Stereophonic won, minus supporting actor, was probably quite a large margin.
Yeah.
Like I just feel like everyone that saw Stereophonic, it just felt like it was more than almost anything else other than, I guess, Merrily. It felt like it was its kind of chase to victory. Like you're just slowly watching it.
The only won 5 awards.
Yeah. Well, because we'll talk about it, but and I think the ones that it lost, I feel like were won by ones that I was excited about. So
up next, we have Scenic Design of a Play, which was won by David Zinn for Stereophonic.
Another pretty obvious one. I don't know. To me, this was David Zinn versus David Zinn. So
yeah, I was like, I love this ever Stereophonic. So did Lizzie McAlpine because she stole it for her concert set. But I think it's beautiful. I'm really happy it won. I think this is one of those like special sets that in years to come we'll go back and think about that Stereophonic set and having a real sound stage on stage.
And it feels so lived in.
Yeah.
Also, like I've found that, you know, we've in the past couple of years gotten a lot of these like house sets. Appropriate being a great example of one that like really feels lived in and full. And Stereophonic really feels like that too. It feels like you could walk in and find all these little things that. And up next we have Sound Design of a Musical, which went to Cody Spencer for The Outside.
Deserved. I mean, this is the thing. I think it's hard this year to say anything's not deserved. Like I love the sound and the lighting for The Outsiders. They kind of go hand in hand. Spoiler alert. Lighting too. But I feel like when you look at that, when you think about that show, it's those design elements that are really special and they're part of that storytelling thing. Like they all fuddle up under direction. Like it all goes together. Like, I don't know. It's a really beautiful sounding piece of theater.
Well, and especially when you get to the Rumble, which we saw a little bit of on television on Sunday.
My only disappointment in this category is that I felt like that this was one of the possibilities for a tie, and we ended up not getting any. But honestly, sound design and Outsider is incredible.
Then we have scenic design of a musical, which went to Tom Scott for Cabaret at the Kit Kat Club.
Cabaret's only award.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
But also, I would say the what they did to the August Wilson is probably the best part of Cabaret.
No, I love what they did to the August Wilson, so I'm happy it was rewarded.
Yeah. I was so discombobulated from the second that I entered
Like where
that
you
side
were.
door,
Yeah.
because I've been in that theater so many times, and I was like, where am I? Like, it took me until we got to that lobby to figure out where we were.
Yeah, because that theater has so much lobby space. It's like
Yeah.
really the only theater outside of like the Hudson, but the Hudson they're not gonna like just demolish.
And that like sense of I don't know where I am works really well for Cabaret. And works really well for this concept of it as well. That, yeah, well deserved.
I also think it's more of a seamless design and reconfiguration of a theater, whereas I thought Here Lies Love was not seamless at all. Like you could
Correct.
tell you were still in the Broadway. So yeah, I'm really, really glad that this ended up getting it.
It seems a lot more permanent than Here Lies Love did.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously not, but
Which is why it's so great.
yeah. Up next, we have costume design of a play, which went to Didi Aite for Jaja's African hair braiding.
Loved this. I
Me
love that
too.
Jaja's African hair braiding got an award other than Nakia Mathis getting the special Tony. Yeah, this was a pleasant surprise for me.
I was shocked, and not in a bad way because I love the costumes in this thing, but I was really thrilled. Because I think the costumes are, and obviously the wigs go alongside it, which also was rewarded. But like, I'm so happy. Like, I think back to like when I realized that was the same like two ensemble members.
Yes.
Like, that was so crazy.
Because at first I was like, how large is this cast? And then you realize, and you're like,
Up next, we have costume design of a musical, which went to Linda Cho for The Great Gatsby, winning 100% of their awards.
100%. Congratulations to The Great Gatsby.
Yeah, and you know what? Now they can say they're Tony nominated. They're Tony winning.
Yeah, which a lot of shows can't. So
Yeah. And the costumes are pretty at moments. There's a couple of good ones.
yeah. I think of all of the awards of the night, this is the only one that I was like, oh, that's definitely not what I would have picked, but I get it. I get it. But my favorite costumes of the season weren't even nominated, so oh well. What do I know about costume design?
And we have lighting design of a play, which went to Jane Cox for Appropriate.
I was a little sad because I wanted to go to Grey House, but I do love the lighting and Appropriate, and I think that last like 5 minutes is incredible.
Yeah, it really is. Go see Appropriate before it closes June 30th.
Oh, it's so good.
The lighting is incredible, and it has
And so is
a
Sarah Paulson.
Tony winner in it as well. Up next, we have lighting design of a musical, Brian McDevitt and Hannah S. Kim for The Outsiders.
Yes. Can we just give a shout out real quick to Hannah S. Kim, who is not the lighting designer. I've seen a lot of people credit her incorrectly. She is the projection designer
And the
of
projection
this show.
is so good.
And it is so good. And I love that they decided to include the projections of this show with lighting as opposed to scenic. The Tony nominating committee can do that differently every time depending on the show. And I thought that was a great choice here. And I love that she won, and I loved her speech.
Yeah. Best orchestrations. Jonathan Tunick for Merrily We Roll Along. This was probably my favorite award of the night. He was not eligible. This category didn't exist when Merrily was on Broadway the first time, and so this time he was eligible and won, and it was truly deserved. This is his first Tony Award for orchestrating a Sondheim musical, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts. I mean, no, because he said, yeah, this is like, well, because he basically this is the first time for orchestrating.
A
Sondheim
Sondheim show.
So yeah, that is wild.
His only other Tony is for Titanic,
Yeah.
which you can also see until this weekend at New York City Center.
I'll be back there on Sunday.
I'm seeing it tonight. Very excited.
Best choreography, Justin Peck for Illinois.
Sure. I'm glad Illinois won something, and this was the obvious choice. It wasn't my favorite choreography of the season, but Justin Peck, I'm glad he has a Tony.
Also probably my least favorite performance of the night, to be honest. I think they made the wrong song choice.
I'm sorry, the Sus performance made me viscerally angry about the direction again. So,
Why? They're marching.
Yeah, I hate it.
It didn't bother me, to be honest, but I don't think the Stuffs performance was what I would have done either. I think Stuffs is so fun, and it said they focused on like. But I think you end with Keep Marching, but I feel like you should let them see some of the like other like. Again, I don't know.
No, I 100% agree. They should have done a medley and then ended on with Marching On.
They should have done the march into Keep Marching.
They should have done literally anything else except for just Marching On.
Direction of a play, Daniel Auken for Stereophonic.
Yeah, I mean, this one was a no-brainer. I was secretly hoping it was going to go to Whitney White, but can we just say worst speech of the night? Daniel Auken, you're a great director. Get better at writing speeches.
And then the biggest surprise for me of the night, Danya Tamor for The Outsiders.
Shocked.
That was crazy. It was crazy to be in a room with people watching that. I heard it was crazy at the venue. I heard that at the Lincoln Center, it was nuts. That everyone was just like, and again, no one was like, she doesn't deserve it. It just was, it felt like it was so.
We were watching at Glass House, and I was the only one that cheered because everyone else was just in shock. And I was also in shock, but I love Danya Tamor. I love her work, and I am thrilled for her. Her and Danya Tamor and Whitney White are two of my favorite working directors right now. And so, yeah, I was thrilled, but shocked. And I am kind of sad for Maria Friedman because her direction was fantastic.
Well, and you can see another one of Whitney White's shows on Broadway next season. She's directing the last 5 years.
We love to see it.
Wild. It's just so
also sad for Jessica Stone.
Could you imagine if it was the only thing that they won was just direction? They won nothing else, but they won direction.
That would have been crazy. Deserved, but crazy.
And then we have Best Original Score went to Shayna Taub for Suffs.
Very deserved. I was sad we didn't see Stereophonic sneak this one out, but the score in Suffs is so good. Can't be mad about that.
And again, you can listen to all of the nominees. They're all out, all the albums, except I think the albums for every musical are out this season, except for Gatsby.
Yep. And Gatsby's coming out next week.
Featured actress in a play, Carrie Young.
Thank goodness.
The best award, the most deserved award, the greatest human award.
Thank freaking goodness. First Tony of many.
And now we're on to Keisha Lewis winning for Best Featured Actress in a Musical.
This was one that I had. Like, I put Keisha, and I was still surprised it was Keisha. Like, I had her, like, she was on my ballot. And I still, like, when it actually happened, I was like, it's happening. Again, at this point, what was fun was Danya had won director, and so it was like, oh, The Outsiders is winning. And then Keisha won, and you were like, oh, no, Hell's Kitchen is winning. And then Suffs won, and then you're like, oh, no, Suffs is winning.
My favorite part of Keisha and then later Malia Joy Moon winning is that I feel like this was the true representation of the best parts of all of the shows. Like the best part of Hell's Kitchen is the performers. So to have the performers win was like great.
Deserved,
right?
Yeah.
And then same with The Outsiders, the best part is the tech, and with Suffs, the best part is the writing. So that was like perfect.
They all got it. They all got it right. And then they're like, what do we decide? What is the thing that we,
This was truly the one category where any of those women could have won, and I would have been elated.
Or they could have all split, and Joy Woods could have won, and I would have been thrilled.
It would have been a great 7-way tie with a write-in. Like,
At one point, I was like, "Is Leslie Kritzer gonna win? Like, is that we all written her off? Is it gonna like split
Right.
and Leslie Kritzer gets the win here?"
And you know what? I still would have been elated. Yeah, I obviously don't love Hell's Kitchen, but I love Keisha Lewis. So great win. And also probably my favorite speech of the night.
Will Brill for Stereophonic, winning featured actor of a play.
Love it. Love. What a this I'm also considering a career win for him because he has just done amazing work. Mostly off Broadway, but
Yeah, I'm so happy for him.
I lost it because I really was like not. Again, I posted a few videos of people in Glass House losing mostly Grace Walker losing her mind, but it was like I wanted to be Will so badly, but I had convinced myself that like it couldn't happen. And then when it did happen, I was like, I don't care about the rest of the night. Like I'm happy now. Like Kara and Will won. Like who cares? Nothing else matters.
I think we also all thought that the Stereophonic boys would cut each other out.
Yeah, I was worried it was going to go to Corey.
I was just,
Yeah,
I had,
and I'm very glad it didn't.
and again, no offense to Tom. I just figured that Eli and Will would split.
But yeah, that was a category that I was very glad to lose.
Yeah.
Here's one I didn't lose. Leading actress in a play, Sarah Paulson for Appropriate.
I don't think anybody lost. I can't,
Zero surprise.
I have to imagine that was probably like 98% of the vote went to Sarah Paulson in this.
The poor one person that picked Rachel McAdams.
Yeah. Or like a thrown in Jessica Lange. Like
I love that even as they were announcing the nominees, I once again forgot that Amy Ryan was even nominated. I was like, oh, I forgot she was in there. Oh, good for her.
Yeah, Sarah Paulson is unbelievable,
Yeah.
Inappropriate. As is the rest of that cast is fantastic as well. And we can actually go ahead and talk about it because they also won Best Revival of a Play,
That they did. Thank goodness.
which means Brandon Jacob Jenkins is now a Tony Award winner.
And Brandon Jacob Jenkins should also be on Broadway more because this was his first full play that has ever been on Broadway. Why? They're all
wild.
great. Right? Some of my favorite stage directions.
Yeah, and Appropriate is, I just can't get over how incredible it is. How hard Sarah Paulson must be working too.
Yeah.
I appreciate when a stage actor, when a screen actor comes back to the theater and picks a challenge. Up next, leading actress in a musical, going to Malia Joy Moon for Hell's Kitchen.
I had like heard the rumblings there, and that was shocking to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a huge surprise. Good for her.
Yeah, incredibly happy for her.
And she was so cute and looked so happy, and she and Shoshana gave each other the biggest hug on the way up, and you could see
Yeah.
Alicia Keys crying, and like, but yeah, it was very surprising. But I mean, she's a great performer, so it's hard not to like see the justification there, obviously, and I'm not like disappointed. And I think it's hard because you're talking about 5 such different performances doing 5 such different things.
Yeah.
I was in the Notebook on Monday, and I was like, Marianne Plunkett is so
Right?
good. But
She's so good.
Kate's going to Hell's Kitchen tomorrow and can remind us all how good Malia is.
Yeah. Malia Joy Moon was my favorite part when I saw it off Broadway. It was like her and Shoshana Bean. I was like, they're fantastic. So I'm curious now that I know the show, how my feelings have changed about not just the show, but Malia's performance. But I can't wait to see her again.
You mean nominee for Best Book of a Musical?
Yes.
Hell's
Yes,
Kitchen?
I am seeing nominee for a best.
No, and Malia, is younger than me. She's, 21.
Welcome to getting
and-
older, Spencer. Welcome to getting older.
and has a Tony. I'm so interested to see what she does next.
Daisy Egan won a Tony at like what, 12?
Yeah. I need a place where I can go. The Billy Elliot voice.
Yeah.
Up next, leading actor in a play, we have Jeremy Strong for An Enemy of the People.
He looked like the lead. I mean, I'm sure he was inside excited. It was a very strange way to start the Tony Awards, though, because that was the first award on the broadcast, and he looked like he could not care less, which I don't think that's probably how he felt. He probably was just like a little stunned.
He's
But-
probably still in character, that's
Literally,
like-
though, he like looked dead in the eyes and he's like giving the speech. no emotion, saying all the right things. I was like, dude, are you okay? You just won a Tony. Chill. That closes this weekend. Sunday.
Thanked the ushers and the
Yes, love
Yes.
the
Front of house
love
staff.
the front of house shout outs.
Yeah.
Especially on a show like that where you're dealing with a lot of interaction because of the fact
Where they literally saved his life, you know?
yeah. Oh, I said like literally people are sitting on the stage with
Yeah.
him for half of the show. So you have to
Yeah.
deal with a really specific set of people that can manage and they had the protest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, Jeremy Strong was talking about in one of the post-winning interviews, I don't remember who it was, about how much he has loved like doing theater again and being challenged again. And I think that we're seeing that a lot more with all these screen actors coming back to theater after, 20, 30 years. Jeremy Strong obviously hasn't been away that long, but you have people like Rachel McAdams who haven't done theater for a very long time and who are just looking for a challenge or looking to do something different. And theater is able to provide them with that.
We love to see it.
And speaking of original screen actors, we have featured actor and a musical winner, Daniel Radcliffe for Merrily We Roll Along. My probably favorite win of the night.
Best speech of the night, cutest moment of the night, best reaction to a speech of the night with Jonathan Groff just sobbing his face off.
Yep.
I mean, we talk about this all the time. Daniel Radcliffe is the worst ad for childhood actors because it makes you look, it can't be that bad. Because he is the best human, somehow just has managed to never get just completely screwed up from becoming extraordinarily famous at 12.
And you know why? Because he listened to Sondheim in the car and his parents
There you
left him.
go.
And that's
all
Yep.
you need. Thank you for letting me listen to putting Sondheim on in the car and, loving me. That's what you need to, if that is all you need to have raise good children, I could do it.
Hey, it's what my mom did and it worked. It worked.
Yeah, there you go. It's not that hard.
He is so incredible in Merrily.
Yeah.
And again, to see someone like that, he has a lot of money. He does not need to be challenging himself by doing a 40-year-old musical that didn't work
Works now.
and now works. He doesn't need to be doing 8 shows a week, but he does. He loves it. You can tell that he is having the time of his life, and that they all are.
Yeah.
That the friendship they have formed is real. I don't think anyone has any doubts that the three of them are real friends. The look on Dan's face when leading actor and a musical winner, Jonathan Groff, won, and that huge bear hug he gave him in the aisle was just fantastic. And we can talk now about Jonathan Groff. I'm so happy for Jonathan
Oh,
Groff.
I'm so
goodness.
happy for Jonathan Groff.
High time he won a Tony Award.
Yeah, this was a fantastic win. This was definitely a career win, and I just so deserved. Even just seeing him again last night, the way that he evolves as Frank throughout the show is just masterful. It's subtle and masterful, and I love his performance.
One of those people who's also just like been in the industry for a really long time.
His
Yeah.
shout out to Lancaster. Like, you're like, oh, he's a good boy. You're like,
And it's not like Jonathan Groff. Jonathan Groff was in Frozen, Hamilton. He's certainly not unknown.
oh no, I mean, like my brother, like I always say, like my brother, who is like a 25-year-old straight boy in New York who does not really watch any theater, saw him riding a bike and texted me and was like, I'm on a bike next to Jonathan Groff. And I was like, I don't even know how you would know who Jonathan Groff is. And he goes, Mindhunter. And he was in Hamilton. And because I made my whole family watch the Pro John of Hamilton. And I was like, if my brother could recognize him on the sidewalk, I was like, people know Jonathan Groff.
Yeah.
And this was his third Tony nomination.
It was for what was it for? Spring
and-
Awakening. Hamilton. I forgot he was nominated for Hamilton. That's a crazy nomination.
I love that nomination for 9 minutes.
That's what I mean. Like, that's a crazy nomination. I mean, again, we've had crazier, but that is a hilarious. I mean,
It's like how long is Quincy in doubt? You know, like
Yeah, so excited for Jonathan Groff. You can catch Merrily, which won Best Revival of a Musical. Another very, very unexpected win, wasn't it?
was it?
So shocked by the Merrily win.
Like, literally nobody. was shocked,
No,
unless
most
they're
most
all
predictable
cabaret.
award of the night was the Merrily win for Best Revival of a Musical.
least surprising and most deserved.
Yeah.
Yes, it is the best revival of a musical. And in terms of performances, we got performances from all the nominated shows in there, including Gutenberg.
Yeah, the Gutenberg section was actually the best section of the night, and honestly,
Yes.
needed. Like
Yeah.
obviously, like we are losers who understand the classics
Yeah.
rule, but I thought they explained it so well. They obviously had watched Kate's video. They knew exactly how to present it. They were like, oh, like
I felt attacked.
I was like,
No,
rude of
yeah,
them not to.
I did feel that way a
Rude
little
of them
bit.
not to give you credit for your research.
I was like,
but-
why are they doing me on the Tony Awards? This is so weird.
I also think it's useful because we're gonna have this exact same conversation in 1 year's time. when we're
Literally.
talking about multiple shows.
No, you
Yeah.
like literally already on my video where I mentioned how much I love the Gutenberg performance, people are already asking, is last 5 years gonna be a revival? And I'm like,
Yeah.
of course
Yeah.
it's gonna be a revival. Why wouldn't it be?
I was like, people have been doing it the last 5 years for literally 15 years.
It's
Yeah.
had multiple revivals off Broadway. Of course it's gonna be.
And yeah, we certainly understand the classics rule. And just seeing that, it was so great. And like you said, I thought they actually explained it extremely well. My favorite joke was when they said, "What's a revival? It's when you bring a show back with a smaller
Nice.
orchestra."
That's perfect.
I was like, CC Phantom 2027. Like,
Yeah.
I love the John Doyle revival reference as well.
yeah, when you make actors play their own instruments, I was like, I saw that Sweeney Todd, baby. I saw Patti LuPone with the cello or tuba. That's
The
what it was.
tuba.
We have the Tony Award for Best Play going to Stereophonic.
Again, a non. It's just so funny because in a year where everything kind of felt like up in the air, for some reason, the three that did not feel up in the air were Best Revival of a Play, Best Revival of a Musical, and Best Play.
Yeah.
All felt like
Yeah.
obvious and were obvious.
And Best Musical winner, The Outsiders, was not particularly a surprise,
I'd say it was.
especially as we
Yeah.
got deeper into the
Yeah,
night.
that's true.
It wasn't a surprise, but it was not a foregone conclusion. Like I would say, like that's what was fun about it is I feel like the last couple of years it has been we knew Kimberly was going to win, we knew Strange Loop was going to win, we knew Moulin Rouge was going to win. This was like the first time since 2017 we knew Hadestown was going to win. Like that, it really felt like a shock, not shock, but like again, like you were like if it had gone to Suffs, if it had gone to Hell's Kitchen,
Yeah.
none of those would have been. Like none of it was,
Yeah.
it was all of it was like, none of it was surprising, but it wasn't. None of us knew,
Yeah.
which was like fun.
It felt competitive.
Yes.
Really competitive in a way that like again like if like I said like last year if Kimberly hadn't won it would have been shocking. If Strange Loop hadn't won it would have been shocking. The only one is if Water for
here. Exactly. Water for Elephants would have been the only shock. Everything else was like, I don't know. We always felt like they had a chance.
Yeah, and I think, like, for example, if after talking about Best Play, everyone knew Stereophonic was going to win. And it was great to, normally it's the other way around. You know who's going to win Best Musical. Best Play is a little up in the air. It's so interesting to just, have that competition, to feel like I don't know what's going to win. Because sometimes it's nice not to know everything.
Yeah, we said the last time I can really think of it was when it was 2017, and it was still like Dear Evan Hansen still was kind of the favorite. I feel like even though it wasn't like a foregone conclusion, it was going to win.
The band's visit year, was that?
Yeah, Band's Visit year. It was
I don't
very
remember.
obvious that it was Band's Visit because it was Band's Visit and then a bunch of musical adaptations or
Well,
SpongeBob.
Band's Visit is also a movie
Very, no,
musical
yeah.
adaptation.
But I more meant like it was like The only
They
one that
they
was
were
like,
literally they were literally
and they had
all
won, and
at
they had
the
won like everything at that. By the point that they had reached Best Musical, they had won like every single award.
like what was gonna be Band's Visit, Mean Girls?
SpongeBob, baby, SpongeBob was the Best Musical of the year. We all knew it. We all
That's
know
true.
it.
That's true. Except for Band's Visit. SpongeBob was the second best.
No, it was the best. I hate the bands of it.
Wow.
There we go.
Hot take here at the
It's
end.
a boring musical
episode.
about nothing. It's just literally the
That's
first line of.
the
I'm
point,
aware, but
that's
I
the
don't want to watch a
point.
boring musical about nothing.
Band's Visit is the stereophonic of musical theater.
Except Stereophonic is good and Band's Visit is not, but it's fine.
They're both good. They're both good. It's okay.
I wonder if I saw it now, if I'd appreciate it more. I feel like at that point I hadn't watched enough like like I wasn't as involved. Anyway, but I'd be curious to watch it again now if I would like it more.
And those are the winners. The winners for Best Play and Best Musical are right next to each other. They actually did a big picture of all the casts. Yeah, the revivals are also next to each other. Stereophonic won 5 awards out of their 13 nominations.
Again, we should remind ourselves that from the acting categories, they were of their 13 nominations, 5 of them were acting categories, and 3/2 of them were in the same category. So they were not. They were the max they were winning, unless there was a lot of crazy ties. Was 8? Was 8?
10.
10. I guess 10. Yeah.
And we can actually now talk a little bit about the performances the night of the Tonys. Anyone have any favorites?
I mean, again, it was very long, but I will give it to Hell's Kitchen that they did know exactly what to highlight in their show.
Yeah.
All of the moments they chose to highlight were so fun. The fake Jay-Z surprise was so fun. Like, they got Alicia Keys on stage, which is really all the Tonys want. They had 7.5 minutes, which is bonkers.
Yeah, I don't love that, but I do love. I wish that Jay-Z had chosen to perform live so that they could have all been on stage with the cast. That was the only thing that I didn't love, is that they like went into some other pre-recorded room. But other than that, I thought it was a great performance.
It took me like a minute or so to realize that it was the pre-record, because I remember hearing that they were pre-recording something on the Friday, and it took me a second to figure out that it was the Jay-Z thing.
It's pretty obvious to me.
Yeah. Before that, though, it kind of just seemed like he didn't want to go into the room with all the people who like theater, that he was just like, I'm going to perform for you, but I'm not going to go anywhere near you.
Yeah, well, it's funny because they were pretending it was live, and they posted that video yesterday of the control room where you literally see them like cut to the pre-recorded.
I love the cabaret performance.
I know, controversial, but I did too.
Yeah, it's been very controversial. People have been not liking it. Both people who don't know cabaret as a show and people that love cabaret, but it's not the one that they love, so they don't love this one. But one of my favorite parts about that performance was not only did it capture the show so well, but the way that it was directed on film was fantastic. Like the way that they moved the camera to mirror the revolve in the show was just I love shit like that. So,
it was one of the only performances that really took to heart that it's a Tony's performance. Yeah, like that it wasn't like, here's just even like, because my problem with both the Outsiders and the Water for Elephants performances is they both didn't feel like they took the cameras into account at all. They just were like, we're gonna do the Outsiders at least cut stuff together, but it wasn't like they were like doing anything for the camera. And I like when people are aware to be like, this is a different performance than like a Broadway performance. We can't just like do our Broadway show because people at home are not going to understand the scope. Like, it's what I appreciate about Illinois too, whether or not I really like the Illinois performance, but they created kind of their own mashup of to get everybody in it, to like design it in a way that it's kind of, I mean, it's part of the show, but it also was definitely revised for the camera and to look.
It just felt like the wrong song choice for me.
I loved the song choice.
I think the thing about that production, that song choice, is that if you loved it, you're going to fucking love
Yeah.
Illinois. And I think anyone that is a Sufjan person is going to watch that and be like, I have to see the show now. Like, I have to see the show now because and maybe it'll turn away like people who are not Sufjan Stevens fans or not like really, but I just think it was such a beautiful number they did. And I love that song. So I was very happy.
For me, it perfectly encapsulated the story, which
Yeah.
was my favorite part of Illinois. And it encapsulated the emotion of the show. And it was a little slower, which I think the show is also a little slower. It's not my favorite moment in the show, but I think like I wanted them to do Chicago, but I think if they did Chicago,
Yeah.
then people would go into the show expecting that the entire show, and you don't get that. Like, I was disappointed that the entire show wasn't like Chicago, which they show on the trailer. And so I thought this was perfect for
Yeah, because it literally
adding
gives
the
you
tone.
if you like this, you're going to love Illinois.
And if you're bored, you're going to be bored in Illinois.
I thought, speaking of well-directed performances, I thought the Tommy performance, the camera shots specifically, were really great. That big shot of the zooming in and out of the stage itself, I thought really well done.
Also, really great use of Pete Townsend. Like this, that's how I
Yeah.
want you, to
Yeah.
integrate the celebrity cameo in,
Yeah. My favorite part is when he stopped playing guitar and it still sounded like he was playing guitar. I think Water for Elephants 100% chose the right songs.
Thank goodness that they picked my favorite songs in
Yeah.
the show.
Mine too.
Also, unfortunate that it's the first two songs in the show, but
Yeah.
they are my favorite songs of the show.
Well, they did Grant's number, right? Or was that Grant's first number?
That's literally
Yeah,
the
that's
opening.
the opening number.
I
into Road to
completely
Making,
forgot. I was like, what number from Grant? I could not remember.
It's like when he like jumps out and runs on the ladder, and yeah.
So bad.
Merrily performance was great. Love that they included the rest of the cast.
Yeah.
Love the welcome hum on the piano.
It's another one where like they're performing because they want to perform. Like they don't have they literally spent the money because it's as a vanity play. They're not trying to sell tickets. They don't need to sell tickets. Like, which is fine. Like let it
Filming the whole thing,
Right. No, that's what I mean. Like it's but I'm like go like I'm glad they did old friends. Like give the three of them their little old friends moment. It's very cute. It was very happy.
I will say they were spinning Lindsay a lot.
And I was like, this girl's like 8 months pregnant. Maybe like we give her a
No, someone texted me and was like, "Isn't she like very pregnant?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah, she's
all of
They
her
were-
costumes have been redesigned in the show, and I could not tell she was pregnant. Like,
No,
I
they've
just
done
know
a
Lindsay
very good.
Mendez,
They've
so
done
it's
a very
clear
good
she's,
job.
like
Yeah.
gained weight, but like the new costumes are incredible. But she has a bunch of new costumes in the show.
Yeah, but they were also like spinning her and throwing her,
Yeah.
and I mean,
And they've restaged some of the show, like she doesn't fall on the ground anymore, but she's very physical in the show. Like she's running across the stage, she's like knocking chairs over. So good for her. Good for her.
and Stereophonic performed. Although if you blink, you missed them.
What I'm glad they
'cause
performed, but this just felt like such a tacked on.
They're like, there you go.
They must have cut a comedy bit for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they should have
Like,
cut
is my
Jay-Z
best
for
guess
it.
because it was so short.
So short.
They didn't even get an intro. It was just
No,
They're like, here.
was just,
They were like,
"Here's
here you go. Here's
Stereophonic."
your performance. That's literally what it felt like.
No, because it felt like they were giving in to us with the performance, but they weren't happy about
Yeah,
it.
they're like, you can bully us, but at the end of the day,
No, because literally, you blinked and you missed it. It was, I think, a minute and a half.
it was 90
or
seconds.
something.
Yeah. 90 seconds. Everybody else got about 3 to 3.5 minutes. The Outsiders one was nearing 4 minutes. So that was one of the longer ones. And then Hell's Kitchen was 7.5.
I thought the Outsiders also did exactly what they should have. Introduce you to the world, spotlight your nominees, do the Rumble.
yeah, it was like, I mean, it was right. It was the right call.
Yeah, because the amount of I don't know about you guys, but the amount of text I got from like people who don't see a ton of theater but like theater, who are like, I need to see this show after seeing that performance. Yeah, the Rumble is so cool, and it's why it won. I mean, it showed you exactly why they won the design categories they did.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's a beautiful show. It's a beautifully produced like piece of theater, and I do think you're right in terms of like it really highlighted that experience.
Also, the only show so far besides Back to the Future that has announced a tour. Wiz is going back out on tour, but
Wiz is a tour.
yeah, that's true.
This is just a stop on the tour.
Yeah.
And I believe that from what the rumblings I've been hearing, Illinois will also be heading out on tour, but
Well, Illinois was sort of a tour.
correct.
But yeah, normally you hear they announce, still waiting for an announcement they announced it, still waiting for the New York tour to go out.
Yeah, maybe that's why they didn't announce a bunch of tours this year.
Be really interested to see a Merrily tour.
That would be actually crazy.
I would rather see them just give us a Merrily replacement cast.
Well, I would rather see that too, because I'm here. I'm not in the places where they're touring.
It would be crazy. It'd be so fun.
Yeah. The problem is with a tour, they're going to cut down the orchestra. So
Stereophonic tour.
I think Stereophonic though will get regionally.
Yeah. I'd rather see regional theaters do their own thing on it.
We just got another closing announcement yesterday from one of the shows of the season. Heart of Rock and Roll.
Yeah, I'm really sad about that one. We kind of knew it was coming, but go see it.
Yeah, one of my favorite shows of this season. It's a ton of fun. I hope it thrives regionally.
I think it will. I think it's the kind of show that you're just going to see crush regionally.
All over the place. We're seeing a bunch of regional and community theater productions of Head Over Heels and Escape to Margaritaville, and I feel like this is going to be right there in that same vein, and it's just so much fun.
If you're a high school theater teacher, this show is perfect for you. It is so fun. The book is well written.
And you get a lot of that like classic old style comedy without it being offensive. And
that's what I was saying. It's like my high school, we did like Copacabana and Millie and like all these shows that like you watch now and you're like, none of these work. Like I can like
But yeah, would love to
a big cast.
Show. Yep.
A lot of character. Yep. A lot of characters with solos, which I feel like is a big thing. Yeah. There's obviously a lot of men on Broadway, but you can do it with a lot of girls. They don't make it be all girls.
Yeah.
I mean, they had, I think it's a very gender neutral show.
Yes.
So.
Because basically you could basically turn almost every single character into, you can make the dad a mom. Like no one would know.
Yeah. And say that the dad died.
Yeah. Like it literally doesn't matter. Yeah. I forget we have to be gendered with the romance because America, but like other than the gendered romance of it all, I guess, like, you can make the band a girl, all three women and Corey Cott. Like none of it.
But yeah, incredibly sad about that show. I hope it thrives. Another thing that I'll just mention from this season with both Hell's Kitchen and The Heart of Rock and Roll, both Huey Lewis and Alicia Keys spent time at those theaters, spent time with those casts, formed relationships, truly did it because they wanted.
I mean, Alicia Keys, they did at the Hell's Kitchen cast album release. They're like, most cast albums have to film in like 3 days. They're like, we filmed ours over months because we filmed it in Alicia Keys' studio in her apartment. So they just spent so like they had no limits in terms of how long they had to be there or when they had to leave, because they could just be there as often as they want. They could go back and do as many takes as they wanted because it was in Alicia Keys' own studio. Like that's wild.
I don't remember whose story this was. I think it might have been Mackenzie Kurtz's. But she was like, she walked into the theater and Huey Lewis was sitting in the hair room getting a haircut.
Well, and like my cousin went to Hard Rock and Roll like a month ago, and Huey Lewis was just in the audience hanging out, and they walked over and took photos. Like, I mean, she's older; she's like my mom's second cousin, but like she immediately recognized him, went over. He was so kind, took photos with everybody. Like he just like loves it, and it makes me really sad. But I hope.
Well, and actually, I'll include David Byrne in this too, because he was at Here Lies Love a ton on the dance floor, just like having the time of his life. And to have three, rather well-known people, obviously of different statures. I think Alicia Keys is probably most famous of the three of them.
Ingrid Michaelson too. Shout out to Ingrid.
Yep.
Yeah.
Again, a different level of famous than Alicia Keys, but
yes. But yeah, just to see people like that love what they do, it's not a money grab for them, for any of them. Thank you for listening to And the EGOT Goes To. You can join us at BroadwayCon for a live episode of this show where we'll be talking about next season and the Tony Awards in general. You can follow us at EGOT_podcast on X and Instagram. You can follow Ashley at
Ashley Hufford on all platforms.
And you can follow Kate at Last Midnight on Instagram and Theater is Life on TikTok. You can follow me at Sher Spencer on Instagram and at Spencer_Sher on Twitter. Thanks so much for listening to us this season. It has been a crazy season. And yeah, feel free to message any of us if you have any questions, want to talk about anything. But thank you all so much.